In a secluded village deep within the heart of Africa, there lived a woman of unparalleled beauty named Seraphina. Her presence was like a mesmerizing dance, captivating the hearts and minds of every man who crossed her path. Her ebony skin glistened like polished onyx under the sun, her eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light that spoke of forbidden desires and hidden depths. Her hair, thick and coiled, framed her face like a halo, enhancing her enigmatic allure. Seraphina's beauty was legendary, spoken of in hushed tones by the elders who remembered tales of otherworldly beings blessing the land with their presence. She moved with a grace that seemed almost ethereal, her every step a silent symphony of elegance and power. Her voice was like the soothing murmur of a sacred river, calming yet compelling, drawing those who heard it into her orbit. The men of the village whispered of their intentions in hushed tones. They spoke of lust and longing, but beneath their desires lay a darker, more insidious hunger. It was as if an ancient curse had awakened within them, a gnawing need that grew stronger with each passing day. They would watch her from afar, their eyes filled with a mix of adoration and something more primal, more dangerous. By day, Seraphina was a vision of serenity, tending to her modest garden, her laughter like a cascade of golden coins, infectious and pure. Children adored her, often seen clinging to her skirts as she wove intricate stories of old, tales of gods and heroes, of love and loss. The women of the village, though envious of her beauty, could not help but admire her strength and independence, her ability to navigate a world dominated by men with such effortless poise. But as night fell, the atmosphere shifted. The men, who had been content with stolen glances and fleeting touches, found their desires evolving into something darker, something they could not control. Their dreams were haunted by visions of Seraphina, her beauty a torment that drove them to the brink of madness. They began to speak of her in fevered whispers, their once respectful admiration turning into a dangerous obsession. Seraphina, aware of her power and the effect she had on the men, wielded her sexuality with a brazen confidence. She chose her lovers with a discerning eye, indulging in the pleasures of the flesh with a passion that bordered on reckless. At first, the men were content with tokens of her affection, strands of her hair, a whisper of her scent, a fleeting touch. These mementos were cherished, kept as secret talismans to be savored in the solitude of their darkest fantasies. But as Seraphina's liaisons multiplied, so too did the men's desires grow more twisted, more depraved. They no longer sought just a touch of her hair or a token of her affection. They began to take more personal and intimate pieces of her, locks of her hair, shavings of her fingernails, fragments of her clothing. Each man believed that possessing a part of Seraphina would somehow bind her to him, that her essence would grant them power and pleasure beyond mere physical intimacy. One fateful night, Seraphina welcomed a new lover into her hut. His touch was different, his gaze unnervingly intense. As they lay entwined in the throes of passion, he produced a gleaming knife and, with a swift motion, severed a piece of her arm. In horror, Seraphina watched as he brought the flesh to his lips and consumed it, his eyes alight with a demonic fervor. Terrified and wounded, Seraphina fled into the night, her heart pounding with fear and desperation. She stumbled through the village, her cries for help piercing the stillness like a siren's wail. The villagers, hearing her desperate pleas, remained hidden in their homes. Fear gripped them as they recalled the recent changes in the men, the dark transformation that had taken hold of their hearts. The elders, who had once warned of the perils of unchecked desire, now found themselves powerless to confront the evil that had been unleashed. The men, drawn to her agony as if bewitched, gathered around her in a trance-like state. Their faces were twisted with malevolent desire, their hands reaching out to tear at her flesh. In a frenzy of primal madness, the men descended upon her, ripping pieces from her body with a ferocity that knew no bounds. Seraphina's screams echoed through the night, a haunting symphony of pain and despair. The villagers remained hidden, their inaction driven by a fear too great to overcome. They could not bring themselves to face the monstrosity that had overtaken their loved ones. The men did not relent until she lay lifeless, her once radiant beauty reduced to a gruesome tableau of carnage. Yet as dawn broke and the first light of day touched the village, the people emerged from their homes and life went on as if nothing had happened. The men, wiping the blood from their hands, returned to their daily routines, their faces showing no trace of the previous night's horrors. The villagers too carried on, their conversations and activities resuming the mundane rhythm of their lives. Seraphina's name was never spoken again, her memory buried beneath a collective amnesia that allowed them to ignore the darkness within their midst. The story of Seraphina raises profound questions about how women can be consumed by the dark desires of men, often met with indifference or denial. What does this tale say about the societal tendency to overlook or ignore the suffering of women? Could the men have resisted their inner darkness, or were they doomed by their own urges? And what of the villagers? Were they complicit through their inaction, or powerless against the same darkness that consumed the men? Could Seraphina's actions have played a role in what happened to her? Can a community truly heal from such a monstrous act? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss how this story resonated with you. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing stories. Thank you for watching.